Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church. And I'm here today near the end of the first week that I'm going to be talking about if you clauses. And I picked one today from Luke chapter 17. Now, I'm going to tell you before I read this is a really hard passage to understand. And I'm not going to pretend and let you think that I got it straight out of the mouth of the horse, as they say. No, I'm going to read it and I'm going to struggle with it just like maybe you do. But it's an important if you clause in the Bible. Jesus said, if you had faith even as small as a mustard seed, you could say to this mulberry tree, may you be uprooted and be planted in the sea, and it would obey you. Well, how small is a mustard seed? Well, I don't have one here. If I did, you probably couldn't see it. So I'm going to use it. See, I get this real close. See the very tip of my pen up here. See how big that is compared to my fingernail? That's how small a mustard seed is. It's tiny. Other places in the Bible says if you plant it, it grows into a great tree. Well, not really a tree, but it's a heck of a big bush. And Jesus is saying that if we just have that much faith, now it would seem that that's not very much. It would seem like what he's saying here is this should be simple. But I know from my life, you probably know from your life, or you will know from your life that it's not quite that simple. In fact, this one is even more than what I typically say. It's really simple, it's just complicated. This is difficultly simple and really complicated. Here we go. If you had this faith, remember now, it's all you just put up here again. This very little bit here. If you had that much, then he says you could say to a mulberry tree. Now I've never seen a mulberry tree. I don't know what one looks like. Probably I should have looked up one before I came today, but a little late now. But I'll accept it as a tree. And even a small tree, even if it's not really huge, like a great big old oak or sequoia or something like that. Even so, that little faith can say to a mulberry tree, be uprooted and planted in the sea, and it would do it. Well, what in the world is Jesus meaning here? It would appear on the surface that he's talking about us doing miraculous things and how easy they are. Well, I don't know about you, but I've never walked on water. I've walked in water, but I've never walked on water. That's not one of my gifts. If you got it, fantastic, but I don't. I have prayed for people who were deathly ill and they got well. I have prayed for people who were mightily struggling in life and finally they made sense of it. But I've also seen people for whom I've prayed and prayed and prayed, and it seemed like the answer never came. So, how do I fit my life experiences in with this statement of Jesus? If I only had that much faith. Well, perhaps the key to this passage is if you have that much faith. Maybe faith the size of a mustard seed is a lot harder to have than what it looks like. Maybe the faith isn't in the size of the seed, but the faith is in the power of the small seed. See, I think you and me have trouble understanding how God works. Sometimes it's pretty obvious, sometimes it's not. But yet God is consistently doing his thing, even when I'd like for him to do something else. So the power of the faith is in the ability of the seed to do something. It's not like a gimmick for me to be able to look important. Heck, in the broad scheme of things, God thinks I'm special. But other than my wife and a few other folks, nobody else does. And I'm never going to be in the history books. At least I don't think so. I don't even think anybody's ever going to write a book about me or a poem. I'm just not that important. And maybe you can identify with that. Now, on the other hand, I am important to God. I'm not I'm not just a hopeless, helpless piece of garbage laying around. And neither are you, regardless of what your situation is. So Jesus is saying we need faith, faith that truly believes, not just faith that says, oh yeah, I have faith. You know, I'll play the mega lottery because I believe I'm going to win. Well, if you do, I'm happy for you. If I ever win, I got plans of what I'll do with all that money. But as my wife says, before I can win, I got to buy a ticket, and that I haven't found a reason to do yet. But Jesus is saying faith is powerful. Faith changes things. Faith changes lives. And here in our church, we have seen time after time after time of God's healing hands of people we've prayed for. And we'll keep praying. When I invite you at the end of these messages, if you have a prayer concern, let us know. We'll pray. I can't guarantee you what the outcome will be because that's God's problem, not mine. My part is to pray, to take the faith, even a small amount, and use it to trust God. And I think maybe that's at least part of what Jesus might be saying here. Well, you reflect on it, you think about it, come to your own conclusions. I'm certainly not the only vessel, person that God gives wisdom to. And sometimes I even doubt that he gives me any. So thanks for listening. God bless you. Hope you have a really great day. I'll be back tomorrow and finish up the week on some of these if you passages. However, if you have a prayer concern or a need, let us know. And we'll do everything we can as fast as we can to help meet your need. God bless you. I'll talk to you again.